On June 30th, 113 years ago, on a warm summer morning in Siberia, Russia, the largest asteroid impact in history occurred. We celebrate Asteroid Day every year on June 30th, the anniversary of what is now known as the Tunguska explosion. Man is always frightened by the unknown, the incomprehensible. This generates a lot of rumors, prejudices. And it is good when events and their causes are not hushed up, when information reaches people. One of the reasons for the fears associated with the fall of the Tunguska meteorite was the fact that in recent years, schools have stopped teaching astronomy. Otherwise, everyone would know about the cosmic bodies surrounding our planet, our solar system, the laws of their motion. The explosion took place over a sparsely populated northern forested area above the Podkamenia Tunguska River in what is now Krasnoyarsk territory. The explosion released enough energy to kill deer and flatten about 80 million trees over an area of 2,150 square kilometers. Eyewitnesses reported seeing a ball of fire, a bluish light almost as bright as the sun moving across the sky. It was followed by a flash and a sound like an artillery round. A powerful shockwave shattered windows hundreds of miles away and knocked people off their feet. Decades passed, however, before anyone could explain the event. The meteor that blew up millions of trees in Siberia only flew past Earth, a new study says. This devastating cosmic phenomenon has puzzled scientists for more than a century. A mysterious explosion in 1908 believed to have been caused by a meteor flattened the forests of the Siberian taiga. This photograph was taken in 1938 during an expedition by Russian mineralogist Leonid Kulik, who investigated the event. The new explanation for the powerful explosion that occurred over a remote Siberian forest in 1908 is even stranger than the mysterious incident itself. Known as the Tunguska event, the explosion raised more than 80 million trees over an area of about 2,000 square kilometers in a matter of seconds, but left no crater. Many believe the culprit was a meteor that exploded before it hit the Earth. However, a comet or asteroid would likely have left stone fragments after the explosion, and the remains of the space visitor have never been found. Now a team of researchers has proposed a solution to this long-standing mystery. The great iron meteor was hurtling toward Earth and came close enough to cause a huge shock wave. But then the meteor deflected away from our planet without disintegrating, and its mass and momentum carried it further into space. On the morning of June 30, 1908, the sky over Siberia flashed so bright and hot that an eyewitness standing dozens of kilometers away thought his shirt had caught fire, said Vladimir Parev, co-author of a new study of the Tunguska meteorite and a researcher at the P.N. Lebedev Physical Institute of the Russian Academy of Sciences in Moscow. A bright light that lasted about 1 minute was followed by an explosion that blew out windows and knocked out people in a town over 60 kilometers away. The impact of the meteorite. Surprisingly, researchers note that the impact of the meteorite on Earth began several days before the catastrophe. First, a glow appeared over the taiga at night, and second, all animals migrated from the crash site in 2 weeks. Herds of deer and predators and even fish went to other rivers. Many people saw the Tunguska meteorite itself, and they all confirmed that its flight was accompanied by a rumble, and its fall by a powerful explosion. Later, after the invention of the atomic bomb, scientists calculated that the power of the explosion of the unknown celestial body was up to 40 megatons of TNT, or 2,000 atomic charges of average power. It was almost equal to the most powerful hydrogen tsar bomba, which the USSR tested in 1961 at the Sukhoi Nos range on Novaya Zemlya Island, with a designed yield of about 100 megatons. The shock wave from the bolide's explosion circled the planet twice, and the explosion itself caused the strongest changes in the Earth's magnetic field. The seismic event was recorded at seismic stations in Irkutsk, Tbilisi, Tashkent, and Jena, Germany. Scientists in Irkutsk recorded a magnetic storm that lasted for about 4 hours and 15 hours after the disaster. Strange changes were observed in the atmosphere of the Earth. The sky over the Atlantic, Europe and over Russia, from Tashkent to St. Petersburg, was glowing, even clouds were emitting light, and in London, according to eyewitness reports, one could read a newspaper at night without turning on additional lighting. The glow quickly faded, but was noted until the end of July. The sky split in two, and high above the forest the whole northern part of the sky seemed to be engulfed in fire, another eyewitness said in his testimony. Scientists estimated that the energy released in the blast was 185 times the energy of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima in 1945, according to NASA. Versions. Initial explanations for the explosion included volcanic eruptions and mining accidents, but these claims were not supported by physical evidence. Other later assumptions were more far-fetched, such as a falling UFO or a black hole colliding with the Earth. A study describing the black hole hypothesis was published in Nature in 1973, and was convincingly refuted in another Nature study published just a few months later. The most widely accepted scientific explanation is that a rocky asteroid or comet entered Earth's atmosphere and then disintegrated with an explosion between 5 and 10 kilometers above the ground, Parev said. But such an explosion would have dotted the Earth with rocky debris, which no one has ever found. By comparison, the meteor that exploded over Chelyabinsk in February 2013 disintegrated into fragments that were found within a week, Parev said. What if, the researchers wondered, the Tunguska meteor was made of iron rather than stone? Could a massive iron meteor have crashed into Earth's atmosphere, come close enough to cause a powerful shock wave, and then escape the planet's gravitational pull and fly away without breaking into fragments? To test this hypothesis, scientists calculated meteor trajectories using computer models. They considered objects ranging in size from 50 meters to 200 meters in diameter. The objects were made of stone, ice or iron and were approaching along a trajectory that brought them within 10 to 15 kilometers of the Earth's surface. Scientists' calculations showed that space bodies made of stone and ice would be completely destroyed by the tremendous pressure generated as they passed through tropospheric heights. Only asteroids made of iron with a diameter of more than 100 meters can survive without cracking and flying apart into many separate pieces, they said. The researchers estimate that the Tunguska meteor was 100 to 200 m in diameter, and it passed through the Earth's atmosphere at a speed of about 72,000 kilometers per hour. During its fiery flight, the meteor lost some of its mass. But the iron ejected by a meteor flying at that speed would have escaped as gas and plasma, oxidized in the atmosphere, and then dissipated on Earth, becoming almost indistinguishable from Earth's iron oxides, the study said. Previous studies have calculated the power of shock waves produced by meteors on the basis that the object enters the Earth's atmosphere at a very steep angle and either hits the ground or explodes in the air, Parev said. In the case of the Tunguska meteor, an iron-rich space object could have entered the Earth's atmosphere at a very small angle, approximately 9 to 12 degrees tangential to the surface. Then it would have passed through the atmosphere, creating a shock wave at an altitude of about 10 to 15 kilometers above the ground, capable of falling trees for hundreds of kilometers and incinerating the surface. But because of the meteor's mass and momentum, it did not disintegrate, but emerged from the atmosphere and returned to space, the researchers report. Still, some questions remain about this scenario, said Mark Boslow, a University of New Mexico research professor and physicist at Los Alamos National Laboratory. Boslav, who was not involved in the study, told Live Science via email that if the object skipped through the atmosphere and did not explode, the resulting shock wave would be much weaker than the blast wave. An object that survived such a transit through the atmosphere would not have been able to descend close enough to the surface for the sound wave to do the kind of damage that was observed at Tunguska, Boslow said. What's more, he said, the pattern of fallen trees at this location is radial in nature. They come from a single point of ejection of enormous energy. That's what you would expect to see after an explosion, not a sonic boom, even if it was strong enough to fall the trees. Boslow added that eyewitness accounts at the time of the incident are consistent with the object coming down to the surface before the explosion. Although the authors of the study did not make numerical calculations of the impact of a shockwave that a passing iron meteor of this size could produce, their estimates do suggest that such a wave would have been powerful enough to flatten trees and damage the ground, as happened with the Tunguska meteorite, Parev said in an email. Detailed calculations of shock waves from a falling asteroid are the subject of our ongoing research, he added. If you were interested, thank the author by giving me a nickname. And also don't forget to subscribe, so you won't miss even more interesting videos on my channel. Turn on notifications by clicking bell and share this clip with your friends. What else interesting you can add on this video? Write in the comments, it will be interesting to read.